Infamous gunslinger Desmond Gibbons, better known across the Wild West as the Cactus Kid, comes to the sleepy town of Clarkson. Trouble finds him in the unlikeliest of sources, the sheriff. After their conflict, the Cactus Kid finds himself inexplicably wearing the badge of a lawman. Later, while on the trail of a serial killer, he and his deputy run afoul of a powerful druid, and the events that lead to the Cactus Kid's transformation into the hulking, four-armed projectile reptile are even more than the druid bargained for. From the Wild West to current-day Los Angeles, where he meets superheroes Black Eagle and Red Hawk, and forms an uneasy alliance with the stunning but deadly Kitty Hawk. Join the projectile reptile on a journey of gunslinging druidic magic, superheroes, and artifacts. Projectile Reptile from Dojo Kun Comics, only on Indiegogo. Are you ready for the truly Wild West?
Hail and welcome. We are live. This is episode 39 of the Dojo Kun Shill Shack. Thanks for being here, those of you here who are here live. And we thank those of you who watch this on the replay, because I know that we're streaming against a number of other folks here in the indie comics community. So we're glad that you take the time to join us too. And speaking of joining us, let's bring up the returning guest co-host, Smiling Bandito. How are you tonight, sir?
Hail and well met. I'm doing fantastic. How are you doing tonight?
Oh, I had last week off, so although this is only Wednesday, this has been a long week already.
Oh, yes. It has a way of doing that.
Yeah, getting through the pile of emails and the AML anti-money laundering reports that I got to catch up on.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, but well, it is what it is. It was a really nice, relaxing week off, so I'm ready to get back at things. I skipped last week as far as doing this show, but we're back at it. And we've got a great guest tonight. Before we get to the guest, though, let's say hi to the couple of folks who have joined us already. We've got Indie Wrestling Aces, Hale, and Hex Allen Comics is here already. They both got here real early tonight, so thanks for being here, guys. And also here tonight is our guest, Charlie. Is it McElvy? Am I saying that right?
That was flawless. Yes, perfect.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Sweet. So, Charlie, it's nice to meet you. This is the first time either Bandito or I have met you, so it's great to talk to you. And yeah. I had come across your campaign just by happenstance. I don't remember if it was Facebook or Twitter, but I saw it and I'm like, hey, this looks very good. So I did some investigating and found that it's not in the place I would normally look for crowdfunders. And this is a chance here tonight to talk to you about that crowdfunding platform, because you know what? We've got to look at our options. And although I'm so far exclusively on Indiegogo, that doesn't mean that I have to be. So, we're going to talk tonight. And for those of you who don't know, Charlie's campaign that we're talking about tonight is on the crowd platform called Zoop. So we're going to ask him some questions about Zoop.
It sounds like a 90s kids toy.
I need to ask them what that name. I never did ask what the hell the name, what the heck the name means, but whatever. I didn't care.
I think what a lot of sites are doing is they're just picking something that does strike a funny bone, because then the mnemonic is strong and it's easy to remember. Like, we all know what Google means, but when it first came out, that sounded so silly,
Yeah, that's true.
Well, hopefully you'll convince us to carry over to Zoop and whatever action figures that come with it, and yeah.
Well, I brought my Anson Mount hair, so hopefully that'll work for those of you cut the reference there. So I'll sit in the captain's chair here and we'll talk.
All right. So yeah, one of the things that we talked about right before we went live is your involvement with Milestone #1. So if you don't mind reiterating that for the audience, it was an interesting, I sort of actually cut you off so that you could tell us about it on stream. So if you don't mind starting over, please tell us about that.
Oh, I don't mind at all. Yeah, Milestone is my creation. He's actually part of the Zion universe. He's a character that I co-created with Drew Moss. If you guys know Drew, he's done stuff for Xenoscope and IDW and everything. We created him, what is it, 7, almost 8 years ago, and I've been waiting to introduce him. So he actually made his first shadowed appearance in Spider Squirrel #2. And I had full intention of obviously putting him into issue 3 with a full adventure. And we overfunded enough that I was able to squeeze in a 6-page kind of an epilogue wrapping in Spider Squirrel #3, where not only is he featured, he's the main character and written by the same guy, Vito Del Santi, who is writing the main series. He wrote a 6-page story that is a direct send-off into this series. So I'm the creator, co-creator of the character, but I've given him over to Vito and Ariel and those guys for really the creative collaborative process. So they're my co-creators in every sense of the word. They're birthing my kids for me.
So yeah, how does that feel? I have a connected superhero.
You want to know how it feels
myself.
to birth somebody's kids?
I was going to ask the same thing. I can go get my wife. She can answer that for you. But yeah.
Well, yeah.
What kind of show is this, Dojo?
Yeah. Hey, we got to get ratings. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, how does it feel though to turn over one of your creative endeavors to someone else to write? Because I've got a universe too, and I would be nervous.
Yeah, no, it would be nerve-wracking if I didn't already trust Vito. So I've known Vito for a long time. In fact, if you guys are familiar with Vito's work with Stray and Sean Isaacs, who is now over at Marvel, those guys co-created Stray together. Well, Vito came across Sean through my work. So Sean helped me out with character designs and co-creation of, I don't know, a dozen and a half characters for my Watch God source book, which was a gaming source book, and all those characters were actually created to go into comics eventually. So anyway, I've known Vito for, man, it's probably pushing on 10 years now, and we've done other projects together, and so it was a natural fit. And we have so many, GMTA moments, great minds think alike moments, and it's just like we finish each other's sentences, which is borderline weird, but other than we're not married or anything like that, he and I, we get along great. So it's a perfect union in this sense for creators.
Maybe it's because you're not married. You get along so well.
I don't know. My wife and I are even better than that, but no. But I'm not kissing him anytime soon. It's actually not too bad because of the fact that he's got my implicit trust, and he's still I review stuff with him. He gives me outlines and we collaborate, and it's really if you guys, I'm old, so forgive me if I reference something like this, but a bullpen moment where it's a virtual bullpen, but we're together and we're collaborating, and sometimes we pull a third or fourth party, and Dean Haskell will come in every once in a while. We'll have these chats and talk about where we're going with stuff. So it's actually super comfortable. If it were somebody else, yeah, I'd probably be like, long tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs, man.
Right. Okay. I totally understand that. So one of the things we also like to talk to you about is the crowdfunding platform itself. So what I'll do is I'll take a minute here to bring up the campaign. I'll share my screen. Let's see. Chrome.
Are you excited about someone else kind of playing in your sandbox?
Yeah, I've said this a few times in other places and even on social, but one of my favorite parts is I get to read this book as a fan. So I'm you know what I mean? Like, I'm involved in the creative process, but it's different when you write your own stuff and then you get it edited and then you see it drawn, which is still exciting. This is a different level. It's a different type of excitement. So yeah, Bandito, it's actually really freaking cool. I think I'm having a blast. So my primary job right now is to promote this thing. So
I mean, because really the whole reason that we're doing this is because we're not seeing the entertainment that we want out there, right? So we're creating stuff that we think is cool because we're not seeing it. Otherwise, we wouldn't need to create it. So the idea, go for it.
No, you finish up.
Oh, I was just going to say, so the idea of having somebody else who wants to actually do something cool with your characters, I think that would be a real turn on for a guy like me. So
I love it. And look, I have this, I've talked to Dean and I've talked to Vito and a few others, and I've got this big sweeping, indie comics Stan Lee mentality where I just want to just open the doors up to the universe. And I can't do that by myself. I can only write so many books. And so I really need a trusted core guys like Vito who can come in and do this with me. And so that's part one. And then, part two, you hit something that I've been talking about. It's probably one of the questions you're going to ask in a little bit, but I'll jump ahead anyway. Is, some people ask me why Zoop, and I go, why not? Right? Because you nailed it, Bandito. Indie comics it's a disruptor. I mean, that's the nature of indie comics, is to come in and to disrupt the market, to bring something to the market that we want to bring, that we're either not seeing or we've seen so many times, and it's not fresh anymore. With indie comics, you can take pastiche and still bring something new to the table. Whereas, when you try to do that with existing characters, it often falls flat. Not always. And, I love a lot of stuff out there. I really enjoyed the new Iron Fist series. I know not everybody liked it. That's fine. But I only read a handful of mainstream books because I've just kind of gotten tired of the, die, reboot, refresh, restart, crisis, reboot, die, refresh. It's just
right.
And it's
I wonder what's going to happen this time.
Yeah. And it's funny. I actually have people who have been fans for a long time of some of my characters, and I've got one character. She has been dead and never appeared in a comic book, but people are still ticked off at me because I haven't revived her yet, and they want me to. And so I say I'm not bringing her back from the dead. Now she may show up in a story because of it. It's a flashback. Or it's an older story, but she's dead. And they're like, "Curse you, Aqua Scum!" So it's fun. I like it, and I have the power to do that. I don't have to bring her back.
That's awesome. Yeah. So why Zoop?
Yeah, I think it really was. I mean, that was the opening intro for why Zoop is. It's a disruptor. So, Indiegogo's got features that are fine and good. Kickstarter's got features that are fine and good. I see a lot of indie creators going over to Kickstarter, and in fact, I've got people who messaged me and said, "Well, when you bring your book back to Kickstarter, I'll support it." I'm like, "Why don't you just support it over here?" Because here's why. The Zoop is built for us. It's built for indie comics. Their market is only indie comics, not technology, not sports balls, not whatever else. Their whole focus is comics and comics adjacent things. Like they had a Rocketeer puzzle. Well, it was still the Rocketeer, and it was indie because Rocketeer's technically indie, and it was a puzzle. So it wasn't a comic, but it was definitely comics adjacent. So, with Jordan and Eric and the rest of the crew over there, those guys and gals are really focused right now on comics. And I love that because I feel like this is built for me. It's not a flawless, it's still fairly new. It's not a flawless platform yet. But, we talked about it backstage. A couple things I really like. One, the shopping experience. If you guys scroll down a little bit, you'll see that you can pick all these different rewards. You're not stuck picking one of these like you would on a Kickstarter, for example. You could pick that one, and 5 of that one, and 3 of that one, and 2 of this next one, and oh look, there's another bundle. I add the bundle to my bundle. You can build your own bundle. You can add all the crap you want to your cart. By the way, if you keep scrolling, you'll see that the add-ons are already visible, so you don't even have to figure that out. You can go and start adding your add-ons right now. Put them all in your cart, and when you're finished, you go and you can edit your cart. You can go, you know what? This isn't a bundle. I'll take this out or whatever. And when you're done, you check out. And then like Kickstarter, there's no charge until the thing is successfully funded. So I really dig it. I think it's got the best of really the things we like about Indiegogo and the things we like about Kickstarter. And it is comics exclusive. So I just dig it. I think it's the right platform. And what it's going to do is if it's successful, we can all make it successful by backing my book and other books on here. Then what'll happen is the platform will get better, which will force Kickstarter and Indiegogo both to go, oh wait, what are we doing that they're not, or what are we not doing that they're doing? So we gotta step up our game. And that's what disruption's all about. That's what happens in indie comics, right? Why do you think mainstream books start doing what they do? It's because somebody in indie did it first, likely. And so people are hearing the market is crying for these things. And it doesn't matter what the genre or the themes or whatever or even the politics are. they're going to follow the market, and we're the edge tip of the spear, I think.
Well, and I think we need to be interested and invested in disrupting monopolies.
Yes.
Like Kickstarter had the monopoly for a long time. I was there right at the beginning. I have books that I funded all the way back to like 2012, and the Kickstarter was great for when it came out, and it created a lot of opportunities. And then Indiegogo came along, and it made it so that Kickstarter did have to change. So now I think now you're able to go in demand, and you have add-ons. You can go in demand, add-ons, and you can do an additional period of time. So it used to be where there wasn't any add-ons, you couldn't go in demand, and you could set your time, and that was it. That was just your time. So Kickstarter had to change their format in order to, or maybe not even just to compete, but they saw something that Indiegogo was doing better, and they incorporated that. So stuff like this, Zoop, which wants to cater to us, I think is a great opportunity for a lot of creators, especially new creators, because they can actually get a cornered audience through Zoop.
Absolutely. And you nailed it, dude, 100%.
I was unaware that Zoop was so comic focused, almost to exclusively comic books. That that endears them to those of us in the indie market, I think.
100%.
Yeah. Yep. No, I think so. And that's and guys, if you're not listening to Bandito, listen to them, because that's the point. Is we need to make this platform successful, because it only benefits us. That's the thing. People don't understand competitive things, like why did Microsoft support Apple when Apple was going through bankruptcy? You can argue whether they owed Apple some money or whatever else. I don't care about that part. What I care about is they know that they needed Apple to be competitive, because if Apple's competitive, then that makes Microsoft more competitive, and that drives the market for everybody. It creates demands, it creates desires, it creates all kinds of things. Both companies benefited from that support. Same with Coke and Pepsi, and you can go right down the line. All these competitors exist because each one's doing something slightly different, and they offer something to the market that keeps pulling in more and more customers.
And it also invites more and more innovation.
Yes.
That goes back to what Bandito said. No, I'm sorry, it was you, Charlie. If Zoop is successful for comic book creators, and Indiegogo and Kickstarter both look over there and say, what are they doing differently? Then the innovation will begin or start over again at Kickstarter and Indiegogo, which may make Zoop say, hey, there's a piece that they're not doing and we're going to, or, just back and forth like that. Competition always fosters innovation and progress.
Amen. Yep. I can't add any more to that. That was perfectly said. I'd like to be a smart aleck, but I just had nothing for you. So,
No worries. Let's look at how this is set up. So you're going to have to sort of, I looked at it a little bit, but if you could walk me through what the page, provides, and we'll
sure.
You direct me where you want me to scroll up or down or what to look at, and I will follow suit.
So we'll start right here where we are. So this is the main banner of an actual campaign page, and it is set up completely differently than both Indiegogo and Kickstarter. And I'll give you some highlights. So one thing that I loved as a creator is my creative team is highlighted right there in the beginning. So most Kickstarters I see, they're organized with and myself included. I've done this too, and I'll change it next time. If I ever do another Kickstarter, I will absolutely put my creative team at the top. I love that. It's the first thing that should be seen is people should know who put this thing together. Versus Kickstarter, and I'm going to use that one because I'm more familiar with Kickstarter, so you guys are welcome to chime in on the Indiegogo differences. I haven't used it as much, but especially as a creator. But instead of just a single byline, which is limited, I've got a couple paragraphs of text that I can actually describe and kind of put a true promotional log line out there, and get people hooked, hopefully from the start, enough to go, okay, well, let's see what this is all about. And then if you scroll down, you can jump right into the rewards. Now, notice they're not called tiers, and it's for the reason I just mentioned a few minutes ago, is each of these tiers are independent, and yet they can be added to the cart all in one. So you can add, again, any one of these. If you want the Indie Comics digital bundle, which in one of the updates I actually show you what books are in that, and you want the digital, you can add both of those right there. Or if you want to scroll down a little bit more, I think we have 6 covers for this book, and so there's the main cover. There's a Marcus Williams, special cover. There's an Aries cover. There's a Pal Roderick's cover. There's an Andy Smith cover. Andy I've known for like 20 freaking years. And there's a Nitho Diaz Zoop exclusive. So maybe you like 4 of those 6 covers. So you don't want the bundle, which is a little lower, but you want 4 of those. Well, you don't have to have me create a new bundle for you. You could take that one, which is at a discount, or you can just go add the ones you want each. And if you wanted 2 of the Nitho ones, 2 of the Marcus Williams one, 5 of the Andy ones, and 1 of the Aries ones, you can actually go in there and add it. You don't have to have this like tier selection anxiety of, oh my gosh, well, what about this one or that one or whatever. And I love that. And if it's limited, it'll tell you. I'll show you in a little bit. It'll explain that it's limited. I do like it. Also told you, how many people have claimed each one, so hey, this one's pretty popular because there's like 8 people who grabbed this one or 12 who grabbed this one or whatever. So if you can't make up your mind, you can let peer pressure decide for you.
So I think it's cool that you've got Aries on here. He and I have worked together on one of my. It's an anthology book. He did a whole chapter for my Skin, SWAT, and Swift book.
Oh, cool.
I love that you've got Pal Roderick's here. He's working heavily with Genuine Comics with Dave Brink. And then Andy Smith, let me grab my schedule real quick. Andy is due to be on my show. When is it? In October. So
is that for his new book? Core Draft. Thank you. I had it on the tip of my tongue. So The
Reckoning. So so I'm excited to talk to him about that. He's been on my show before where we talked about his previous project, the First Man, and I even found some First Man in the back issues when it was still being published by Image. So he's a great guy. I'm glad to see you've got a cover by Andy.
I find that there's 2 types of people out there. People who have been on Dojo Kun's show and people who will be on Dojo Kun.
That's right. I will find them all.
Here's a fun fact. Andy and I, when Andy still lived in Orlando, we hit it off really well. So went to dinner with him and his wife, Helen, and we had a good time. This is before his daughter was even born. And I think she turned 15. Oh my God, she turned like 15 or 16 recently. But anyway, First Man hadn't come out yet, so he was working on it, and we had done some stuff together. I actually wrote a First Man issue 2 take. So the original issue 2 was actually going to be something that he had given me the idea of what he wanted to do, and I had written it out for him. So it was a cool, fun challenge. He ended up going with Rob Schneider to actually finish that up. But that was my earliest potentially professional writing, but it didn't happen. So the rest of this is just options. I mean, you guys can scroll through, or you can scroll through Dojo, but I just put some representative holofoil so you can understand those are holofoil covers. And then again, a holofoil set. There are some big time bonuses here. So I want to explain 2 things here real fast for those watching. That signed one is signed by myself and Vito. That's the Nitho Diaz Zoop exclusive cover. The one on the right, the $100 one, is also a Zoop exclusive cover, but that one is expensive because I have to ship to Brazil, Croatia, and then to New York, which God forbid New York's like a foreign country anymore. And then get it shipped back to me. So basically, you're buying the cost of shipping, and it might even be underpriced at this point. But that's the reason for that one being so expensive. And then I don't part with original art very often. Andy will tell you that I buy almost all of my original art from my writers, or co-creators rather. And I did opt to part with Juan Castro's inks for the original Zoop exclusive cover. So there's only one of those. Those are on blue line. Those are not on pencils, just for the record. They're in 2 separate countries, and we did it that way. But yeah. And then if you keep scrolling down, what's really dope, and this is what I was talking about backstage, is I love that you don't have to pick your rewards to see the add-ons. The add-ons are still available right now. So you can see and make your mental selections or take notes of what you want to buy, or you can just add a bunch of crap in and go edit your cart, whichever way floats your boat. And unless it's limited, you can add as many of each thing as you want to. And again, there's no charge until the campaign is successful.
Who do you have doing your metal bookmarks?
Currently working with Fairy Metal. So Jacob over there is outstanding. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, somebody's doing something metal and it's not by Phoenix Animation. I'm surprised.
I've used
That
Jacob for a while now. Yeah, he's a great guy.
Okay. Very cool. Though these look pretty sharp. I do have to say that in this section on Zoop, it's a little hard to see. Now, I do know that if I scroll way down, I can see the covers better.
Yeah.
Is that also true of the bookmarks?
Yes, it is true of the bookmarks, and some of that's my fault because the way I could just send them a flat file like I did for that the Spider Scroll ones, but I opted to go with a cute little mock-up graphics, and that does limit the space. So that's really my fault more than theirs.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, live and learn.
But yeah, here on the campaign, in addition to the current book, just like on the other platforms, you also have your catch-up tiers for the other stories. The story that Milestone is being spun out of is Spider Squirrel, and here we can get issues 1, 2, and 3, or all 3 of them in a bundle.
Correct. Those are the regular covers, so those are all just because those are the ones I have in stock the most. But if someone wants a different cover, ask me, and I'll add it. I'll have it added for an add-on if you want to do that. So
I love this homage cover right here.
That one was that was a lot of fun. Now, by the way, public admission here, I screwed up when we did this cover. The artist put the recognition of Perez, and even though it's a parody cover, just as much, it's more parody than homage actually. But if you were able to zoom in, you can see it later. I'll show you. But but he did give the credit to George, and may he rest in peace. However, I had to move that up to the top left so that you could see it because it did get cut off in the cropping of the book. I put the wrong file on, so the credit did not show up in there. But that's me. So if anybody wants to get their panties on a wad, we did actually have credit for the homage in there. I screwed up and I set the wrong file, so my bad.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Anyway.
And this is what you were talking about a little while ago, right? WatchGuard is the tabletop role-playing game.
So WatchGuard was so that was a book I funded in 2011 on Kickstarter. It was my first Kickstarter. It was a direct spinoff of the gaming book that I had written. So I actually wrote the gaming book because I wanted an audience. I didn't want to just try to go on Kickstarter and try to harangue people to buy my book. So here's a marketing ploy for you guys and gals out there. I said, well, there's an existing market for this gaming platform, and they have an open free license to plug in.
Okay. Yep.
So I said, all right. I wrote, I worked with some other guys who actually were in the gaming community. I learned the game myself, played the game a couple times, figured out stats, and then started creating characters. And I did a Marvel Universe style book, series of entries with 44 characters with their comic book stats and their gaming stats side by side. So whether you're a comic person that just wanted to read it, or if you wanted to play the actual game, you could do both. We had scenarios and pinup art, and it was this huge success. It actually got nominated for an Emmy, which is like the Academy Awards of gaming. So I was really like, yay! I didn't win, but I got nominated. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now that this does not happen very often, but that is an incredibly innovative and creative idea to start your interaction with the fans. It's very seldom that I hear something original like that, and I'm writing that down. And usually it's the other way around. I come up with something where somebody else gets to write it down, but this is a rare opportunity for me. I really
thank you.
Yeah.
I thought it was I guess in hindsight, I guess it was a stroke of genius, but it was just one of those. It was I guess necessity is the motherhood of invention, and I said, let's make it happen. So it worked out really well. Actually, I have a ton of fans who buy the books now who were originally gamers, not comic book readers so much. So it's pretty fun. This book is ultimately what came out of that. And Andy and I did this book in we started in 2007. Finished it in 2010 finally, and again got it on Kickstarter and funded. So yay!
Very good. I'm glad to hear that.
That's really cool.
I'm a long-time role-playing gamer. I've done D&D with the Sword and Sorcery. I've done superheroes, space opera. So this is interesting right here to me. I see that. So all 3 of these are the same book, But one of them is an
Correct.
exclusive cover to Kickstarter, right?
Yeah, that was the Kickstarter. I have some stock left of that one. I actually should have made that limited but I think I have enough because nobody's actually picked it up yet. It's just leftovers from my original print. So once those are gone, they're gone. So hence the extra price. And technically, this isn't a Kickstarter, but somebody asked me to put it on there, and I did for them. So there you go. Yeah.
So now that we've talked about the platform for quite a while here, let's talk about the story itself.
Yeah, this is a really fun story. So it's interesting. We do jump right into where we left off in Spider Squirrel, where you'll see Milestone is leaving Earth. Where he's going, you'll have to figure that out. But if you scroll down, you'll see some preview pages, and there's some. A lot of folks have asked me already. Hey, World War II, does it happen in the present? Well, yes, of course it does. The World War II moments are actually flashbacks. We kind of get inside of his head, and you can kind of see from some of these pages, he's almost dozing off. Not really dozing off, but he's drifting off into his own thoughts. This book, I like to say, is a human story with superhuman trappings. It's a very big cosmic story. It starts out very simple and on Earth in World War II. And then we get into what's really going on. So this is the first 5 pages here, unlettered. Gorgeous art by Ariel and Jagdish and Omi. And they really just took Vito's script and did it justice. You can see Spider Squirrel and Trash Panda there and everything. So
Sorry.
There's your covers. No, you're fine, man. Don't worry.
Okay.
You can keep scrolling down. This is nice. You have your covers big and laid out, so you can see each cover mostly in detail. These are, again, tilted because I chose to do a mock-up version. But I think it gives good representation enough of what you could be purchasing for the covers. And then you can keep scrolling. You'll see the trading cards, same way. They're essentially the covers. And I learned my lesson on that one. I think more people like the covers on cards than anything else. And so I did the same thing with the bookmarks. So
nice.
Yeah. By the way, I love metal bookmarks. I actually have my own, like right here. Fun fact, I am such a selfish little turd. The only reason I gave away bookmarks is so I can order a bunch of them for myself. So people who backed my last book got free bookmarks, 5 free metal bookmarks if they backed at a physical level, and I got 250 in my basement now for me. So
wow. That's kind of why I hope we get to the stretch goal on my campaign for the challenge coin, because I want one.
Yeah, right. That's like, I've been thinking about having 2 challenge coins from 2 different Apex campaigns, and I'm like, I might do challenge coins next. You never know. So
I did for my first campaign, Siamese, and they turned out really, really nice.
Nice. Yeah. There's some really good ones out there. I collect. I'm a Stoic. Want to be Stoic anyway, philosopher. So I collect the Stoic coins. They're like memory tools and stuff. So I've got those all over the place, and really, really big fan of Ryan Holiday's work. So yeah, there's my campaign at the bottom. We had the bios. What's also cool is there's the timeline. There's I did want to give everybody a little bit of airtime there. Some quotes from readers. Fred Van Lente, by the way, not only did he give us a byline or a plug there, but he also is writing the foreword to Spider Squirrel #1 collected edition. So, but yeah, Scott McDaniel, Keith Champagne, everybody gave a little bit of feedback on the book, which I thought was really fun. I love Keith's. I won't read it out loud in case kids are watching, but it's pretty funny.
Okay.
Stretch goals, I will say I did make a modification to the stretch goals where once the book funds, everybody who backs the book will get a special indie comics bundle that is not listed on here. But since I had my first Black character, I was like, it would be really cool to get a bunch of Black creators. And I had some friends who threw in their books. So we have a bunch of books from all across the indie comics scope who have thrown their books in and will be available as a freebie, as a stretch goal for anybody once we fully fund the book.
Which of course you will.
That's the goal, buddy. Yes, yeah. I'm pretty confident in it. I mean, it's starting to pick back up. We got out of a lull, and now we're starting to get backers to jump back in.
Excellent.
So how you've done campaigns on other platforms?
Yep.
How are you finding the momentum for this campaign compared to others?
Yeah, it's definitely a slog versus the kind of the natural. Here's the thing, and it's I'll admit a little frustration. I think some people are just they're not hoping this fails, but I think they just would rather see it over on their preferred platform. And I understand change is difficult, but we've talked about this ad nauseum at this point. The only way to really make real change in the things we like is to actually participate, right? And that doesn't matter. And that participation comes in all kinds of forms. So if it's politics, your participation is voting. If it's your family, it's getting involved. If it's your friends, it's helping out, right? You've got to get some skin in the game. So the only way to really affect change positively is to do something. And so I'm hoping people will just come back over. I have over 800 unique backers from my various campaigns, and to have only 117 individuals back this book shows that there's a reluctance to make the change into the platform. Because you would think that I get a pretty good return on my my backer core. So it's not converting directly. And I think Kickstarter has a lot of other factors. First off, it's a big pool, so a lot of extra eyes get on it, but it doesn't necessarily translate percentage-wise to the same amount of backing. So, it is what it is. I still believe that this platform is one of the best platforms already, and it's still at a minimum viable product level, in terms of features and stuff like that. It's really good.
That's really cool. Yeah. I think it is going to be continue to push forward. I think it's already been successful enough that it's not going. It would take something significant to make it fail. Yeah. So I think Zoop has a future. And I think Zoop has a future. The book has a future. So I think
I'm only worried about me. I don't care about Zoop. No, I'm just I'm just kidding, Jordan. Just kidding. By the way, so I didn't explain this. So in Kickstarter, and I think in Indiegogo, you kind of create your own campaigns. You kind of do that with Zoop. So what Zoop does is they give you a construct. They say, hey, or a document, and they say, fill out these pieces. So each of these tiers, the budget, or these components rather, the budget, the timeline, preview, cover, art, bios, all that stuff. They actually ask for those things. They say, hey, and we recommend you do graphics for this, or you do something for that. And so they kind of have a nice guided tour, if you will, of how to set up their campaign. So that one, I think their platform is a little bit more consistent, which is, I give them props for that. And two, it actually helps creators, because I think a lot of times I've seen Kickstarter and Indiegogo campaigns that I cringe. I was like, I want to back this, but I see how it's built. And I'm like, there's nothing. I don't even know what the heck's going on. Like, what are you got all these cover options? I don't see any pictures. So I don't even know this guy's name. So how am I supposed to back that cover? I want to see what it looks like. Or I see the graphics, but I don't know what the heck the story is, or whatever. There's always, so nobody's perfect, myself most especially so. Good grief. You think I'm drinking something besides water. I am definitely one of those guys who fails often and learns from his mistakes and keeps moving forward. And so, I try to make every campaign a little better. I like the fact that they just guide you through it. So really helpful.
So I got to ask this to play devil's advocate. I am a proponent of the book called The E-Myth, and the E stands for entrepreneurial, not electronic. So the book, The E-Myth, talks about a baker as the example, where the baker is really, really good at what he does. So he starts a bakery, and he gets wildly successful, has to hire some other people to do the baking. But keep in mind that if you have a business, you've also got to run the business. You can't just make the product. So you've also got to be a marketer. You've also got to be the accountant for your own, so et cetera. I won't belabor the point, but the point I'm making here is it possible, do you think, that Zoop will get too big for their own britches? And what I mean is, if they're asking you to send in all those graphics and the information, and they build the campaign in order to keep their consistency and standardization, is that going to be a problem? Could it possibly get out of too big for them? Time prohibitive.
No, absolutely. In fact, and I have two comments on that. So one, if they do it manually, but their end goal is not to have this manual. They want whatever's manual should be the curation process, right? And Kickstarter does the same thing, where you got to submit it for approval, and you wait your 2 days, 2 weeks, however long Kickstarter takes to get to you. So I think so ultimately Zoop's goal is to have this less manual and more automated, more structured. So essentially you do like you do with Kickstarter, or even Indiegogo, right? You go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You complete the steps in the order. You upload your files here and there, and so they're getting there. That's also why they are also their niche is one thing, but they're also still curating heavily. So they're slow to get books onto their platform, and they're targeting certainly some big individuals. The Damn Notions just finished recently. I saw an announcement where another big creator is coming to the platform. I don't know if I can say it out loud because I can't remember if I saw it publicly or if I saw it from Jordan. So I'll just say that. But so they are targeting still some more of the Rockstar visibility to bring people to the campaign. It can get bigger than them, sure, but they have a plan. I've talked to Jordan for many times for several hours, and I love where his head is, and he and Eric are running a really good ship. They have a vision.
Jordan is the creator, designer,
CEO.
CEO of Zoop.
Yep.
Okay.
So I have a question then. In Dojo's example, is Jordan a baker? I mean, the reason it's the E-myth is, I'm guessing, just based on your description, Brian, but the E-myth being that the baker isn't a manager, he isn't an entrepreneur, he was just a baker, and he's now gone into those roles. So now with Zoop getting too big for the britches, or reaching beyond, or trying to reach beyond what they can, is Jordan a baker, or is he a manager and marketer?
Oh, he is a classic entrepreneur. His head he's 10 steps forward, but he's also where he lives in the now. That's why I love talking to him, because he thinks a lot along the ways I do. Is like, okay, there's got to be a vision. Vision is great, but a vision is just a thing. It's ephemeral, but you got to have a strategy. So there's a strategy, but strategy requires tactics, and so tactics bring it all the way back to now. So there is definitely a bigger play. Jordan is very much a businessman.
So then,
he's a visionary.
So then, is the real beauty of Zoop that it allows all of us just to be bakers?
Yes. So that was my second point to Dojo's comment. So, dude, that was a great feed. This is a pretty good pairing here. So
I do what I can.
Yeah. One of my favorite things of the Zoop platform is you don't have to do this, but I have elected to allow the complete fulfillment package. So they're about the same price wise as a Kickstarter, and so you're not. People think, you went there because it's cheaper. No, I didn't. They also have a fulfillment service, and so their fulfillment service will basically be I guess contractors and stuff like that to pack my books, pack my merchandise, get things organized, drop packing slips in, tape stuff up, ship it out, charge the postage, and then I walk away with whatever's left over. That is an option, which allows me to be a creator and not to sit here and, like I'm doing tonight after we hang up the phone here, is go pack more books and ship them off. And I love doing that. I am kind of a control freak, if you can't tell. So I do like doing that stuff because it allows me to write personal notes sometimes or other things. But I also realize that that's to the point you just brought up about the E-myth. I can't do that all the time. And, as I get more and more backers and more and more packages, more elaborate packaging, I can't continue to create and deliver constantly. Right. Not on a good cycle.
That's one of the very core points to the E-myth, is that baker ends up doing everything but baking, because he had to hire other people to do it while he's handling the management of the business. So he worked himself right out of the thing he loved most. And so, hearing that about Zoop, allowing you to still be a creator when they can handle all of those other things, that's good to hear.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And again, if you'd rather just do the crowdfunding campaign and still fulfill it yourself, that's fine. If you want to do kind of a hybrid model, because there's still a lot of flexibility, you could, instead of them picking the printer, because they will go out and negotiate printing prices and all this other great stuff for you. based on your standards, you know, I can always say, oh, I do a Comics Wellspring only, or I do comic impressions only, or pick whatever the heck you want. I mean, you have options. So even within that fulfillment, there's still control to the creator, because ultimately what they want to deliver is your vision. So when the packages go out, that's my brand, and they recognize that.
Great.
That's really cool. That's I didn't think of it that way until you were just talking about it. So that's really cool to hear.
And I'm writing this down.
You know you're recording this, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's right. I can come back to it. Yeah.
Read the transcript later. Yeah.
Exactly. All right. So these sections here that you're talking about, budget and timeline, these are things that they get information from you. You feed this in, and then they create this part of the page for you.
Yeah, it's definitely somewhat collaborative. Well, actually, I created that graphic form of some generator. You can go Google timeline generator and create your own. I wanted like kind of a movie timeline. I was like, oh, what the heck, you know, it'd be fun.
Okay.
But yeah, so these are what I call transparency sections. So these are ones that say, you know, you could have just thrown out the numbers and said, well, you know, 60% of the money is going to go to art, 10% is going to go to promo or whatever. I decided to do the graphic because people love visuals. I love visuals. And so it's easy to do. I have a Kickstarter, I have a crowdfunding spreadsheet now that I use that I feed all the information in, my page costs and my shipping costs and all this other stuff, and it just spits it out, this beautiful little image. Yeah, so this is a piece that actually fulfillment probably will increase on that one, but I kind of blended that in fees because I wasn't sure exactly how much the fulfillment's going to cost 100%, but I guesstimated based on previous experience. But other than that, everything else is down to the penny of how much I've actually either output or will output to get this stuff going.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, the timeline is assuming the book funds and the funds clear on time. And I have all that kind of stacked in there. And some of these numbers, by the way, are based on my Kickstarter experience. So I know roughly how long it's taken, and I put a little bit of fudge factor in. So as long as everything works out well, we should follow this pretty closely. And I dare say we might even, as long as there's no supply chain issues, we may actually get things out to people earlier than what we show on here. But that's always the plan, is to, underestimate and over deliver.
Right.
That's the hope.
Yeah, well, yeah, and unfortunately, I found it with this last campaign that I had 2 extra weeks on my printing that wasn't anticipated, and it was just a matter of personnel more than supplies. But
yes, well, they're finding not only the paper shortage, which seems to be somewhat alleviated recently, there's still a matter of labor shortage in
Correct.
a lot of industries, not just printing, but like across the board. There seems to be a labor shortage. Not sure.
Nobody wants to work anymore. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
It's a pain in my butt. Let me tell you.
I know, and here I am working my tail off at a 9 to 5, and I do comics. It's a paid hobby.
Yeah. Whenever I tell somebody that I'm a small town comic book publisher, they're like, "But I thought you were like a fraud examiner or something." I'm like, "Oh yes, that too."
Yeah,
exactly.
Right.
It's okay. Busy is good. Busy people get things done.
Right.
I'm used to busy. I have 7 kids, so we are very.
Wow, dude, you got 7? I thought our 5 was a lot.
We're gluttons. That my wife's hot, but
got to keep that global population up, right?
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, this is nice. So these updates are a little different. You don't just jump in and throw your own update out there today. Again, this is a work in progress, but. I simply email Zoop your text. I format it in there. You can either send it as an attachment, or you can send it just straight email, and they'll copy and paste it and do some edits to it and send it off there. So yeah, that was the latest update. I'm going to put another one out this Friday, because it'll be 1 week till close. That's a preview page, by the way, of I'm adding 10 pages of additional story in an epilogue format to Spider Squirrel Volume 1 trade paperback. So that character with the cute pink buns in her hair is actually modeled after my wife. And she'll be at Baltimore Comic Con if you guys want to see her in costume. Yeah, the librarian will be in Baltimore signing prints and photos and all that other fun stuff. but she is making her debut in this 10-page epilogue. Now, I'll say this, and I commented on my Substack recently, which got a similar update, is while I am doing a 10-page epilogue that is new and fresh 10 pages in the trade, those same 10 pages I will reprint into Spider Squirrel Volume 2, Number 1, because I'm not I'd love for everybody to buy everything I put out all the time, but I recognize that funds are short for some people. Times can be hard, and so it's not a cash grab. So these pages will be reprinted in Volume 2, Issue 1, just to make sure that everybody gets the full story.
Okay, well, that's nice. I appreciate something like that.
I'm one who tends to buy floppies and trade paperbacks, but I can't always, or I don't always, and so I recognize that some people buy one or the other, and some people like to buy both, but I don't want to try to assume everybody does both. So I just think that's fair.
No, like I said, I appreciate that. That's something that you're taking the customer into consideration. Good customer service is a great tenet to have.
My readers matter. So come back and back this book, people. There's a tease for issue 2. We are getting some little Greek action here. I shouldn't say it that way, I guess.
Careful.
Well, can we rewind that? Yeah.
I've noticed in all the artwork lots of big muscles and big booties, and it's all been pretty good.
Yeah, Ariel, I love his style.
Yeah.
No, yeah, he's definitely got a great Western style, and I love that he takes full advantage of what Vito gives him in the script. So it's fantastic. There's a 2-page spread that is absolutely gangbusters. That is there it is right there. Actually, that is a metal trading card now for the first 50 backers at a physical level who backed this program or this campaign, who also followed on the pre-launch. So I have that list now. So some individuals are getting this. I'm printing 100 of these, so the rest of them will be available with me at cons. So if you want this, you better come to Baltimore and see me, and you can see the librarian too while I sign your card.
Nice. So what's your favorite thing that Vito has brought to your script? So is it his experience in Batman, or his experience with Wolverine or Scooby-Doo or Savage Dragon? What
Yeah, it's his depth. One of the things that obviously I love Vito. He's a brother, but Vito, this story is deeper than what you can see on the pages here, and it's got a great depth and breadth to it that just is it's almost palatable. Like if you read the script, you just be like, oh, dude, where are you going? There's some Grant Morrison moments that are just like, holy smokes. And in fact, there's a page in issue 2 that I read it and I go, Vito, how the crap is Ariel going to draw that? He goes, he'll figure it out. Not on his own. We collaborated together, and Vito gave him some ideas, and we had a great time going back and forth. And the first draft that came out of that page, I was like, oh my gosh, that's it. It was perfect.
Nice.
It's actually 2 pages. It requires a page turn for the effect. It's amazing. So yeah, I love what Vito's bringing to it, and I love how Ariel's just translating this from words to pictures, and it's true storytelling back and forth. It's for me. It's back to the earlier question. I'm a fanboy watching this stuff come to life. It's outstanding. So he's great. There's a spinoff we're already working on actually from Milestone, because I am assuming that all of the issues will be funded. This is currently a 6-issue miniseries, but we will probably truncate that down or shorten that to 4 because of the spinoff we're now doing. And there's another 4-issue spinoff coming that is. It's. Let me just say that this is one of those things that if the big 2 saw it, they'd probably want to do it. It is both deep and human and super personal, and it's also really cool and intriguing, and it has nothing to do with capes, and again, capes are just the dressing, the frame, if you will, but the picture that you get is amazing. It's awesome. And we've got a new guy, not new to the comics, but who's doing this. We're working with Dale Yaddo, on the art, and he gave us page 1, which, by the way, the book's not even written yet. He just got an idea, and Vito said, well, I was thinking about doing something like this for page 1, and then like 10 minutes later it hits our laps and we're like, holy smokes, that is wow. So it's another great collaboration, man. I'm telling you guys are gonna freaking love it.
When you get that kind of rapport between the writer and the artist, some great magic can happen.
Yes, sir.
Very true. Well, we only got like 5 minutes left, right, Dojo?
Yeah, right. And so, I do want to go out with a different trailer too. But if you got more questions, we can hang on and ask them.
Charlie, you got to give us what do you want the audience to go and look up that you couldn't talk about today, or what are you most excited for the audience to see? Give us.
And you know what? Everybody go out to globalcomics.com right now. That's comics with an X.com and search for Milestone. You can read the first 9 pages right now for free. Absolutely. You don't even need to create an account. You can just go there. Heck, you can go there right now, Dojo, if you want. Show them. But you can read the first 9 pages of Milestone and then make a decision. I think those first 9 pages will grab you, and you're going to want to know what happens in the rest of the 24-page book. So, and then the miniseries. So, and then come back here to Zoop. So open a tab, don't change.
Right.
And then come back to Zoop and back this book, because funding this book will get you the rest of those 24 pages, and it guarantees that we're already working on issue 2. So this book is done. Issue 2 is actually drawn and being colored. So we are already ahead of things, but the only way to ensure you get the full story is to back this book.
That's
and
fantastic.
Back it on Zoop.
That's
right.
perfect.
All right, thank you very much. So Charlie, tell us where we can find you on the socials.
Pretty easy. I've got it down here at Charlie McElvy. If you just go there, pretty much anywhere, you can follow me, and you can find my tangential accounts, everywhere. I don't use those as much, and I'm very active. I respond and talk to pretty much everybody. I don't usually get involved in very many fights. I get sick of the social media is stupid. I like to have fun, and I'm a very positive guy. So you can come try to trash me. I'm just gonna laugh and keep moving. So let's have fun. Just come join me on social.
Yeah, I don't get into the drama. I know Bandito doesn't either.
Try not to.
I have put a few hot takes on there that sort of stirred some stuff, but other than that, I'm just here to have fun too. Escapism, entertainment is what I'm looking for.
That's me in a nutshell, man.
All right. Yeah. So I want to thank you for coming on the show, Charlie. It was great to meet you. I want to thank Bandito for coming back again to help co-host.
Absolutely.
As most of you can probably tell, he's going to come back again and again. We've got this, we've got a deal going here, and he's a great co-host. So, thank you for being here. And I'm going to go out with the testimonials for my campaign. I don't talk about my campaign too much while I'm hosting somebody else, but I definitely want to put it out there because I did extended the next 30 days. There's 28 days left, and we're at 67% funded. So also take a look at Indiegogo this time for Projectile Reptile. Thanks, everyone.
Hail and well met.
Let me see. Oh, here we go.
Projectile Reptile from Dojo Kun Comics, only on Indiegogo. Are you ready for the truly Wild West?
Between all of us, we've probably seen hundreds of campaigns, and this one's really laid out cleanly. I like how you've laid it out.
This campaign's very clear. You've done a great job of communicating those things. You can tell you've put a lot of care and attention into the book and the campaign.
Look at this. You've got an awesome book.
It's awesome. The concept is cool. It's a brand new character. It's a mixture of Western, superhero. It has something for everyone.
This is a bit of a sprawling story. I thought we would just be staying in the Wild West, but it seems we're going to town on this one.
If there is anyone out there who thinks they might know someone who might be interested in a gun-slinging, gun-toting, reptile, cowboy, superhero time travel book.
I love the forearms. That's so cool.
The Wild West. I love it. I'm a big Western fan. I've always been a Western fan.
Brian, you're a workhorse.
Because I really like the decisions made here. It's really cool.
And you're making the right decisions. You're making the right changes, and you're headed in the right direction. And those are all huge positives, and that's a testament to you wanting to succeed, and it's great to see.
All right, guys, we do have a few projects up there right now that I do want to go over, make sure that we get our friends funded here for Comicsgate. We've got 160 people in the chat, so thank you for showing up. This is Projectile Reptile from Dojo Kun right here. Dojo Kun's like our truth barometer, our fraud barometer for Comicsgate. If he likes you, you're probably in a good spot, is where I think that it is, and you do a good service for Comicsgate for that.
Sincerely, Dojo, your perseverance is sincerely inspirational to me.
I do think that out of all of the books that you've put out, this does seem like the best interior art I've seen so far. I mean, I think you found a really good artist.
Oh, Renzo Rodriguez, the Impossible Stars artist, did this cover. I love his art. He's a good guy.
Cheers.
He doesn't do drama. He just makes on-time books, my friends.
That's right.
Just like Dojo.
There's some fantastic covers. They're all amazing on this campaign.
Projectile Reptile. That'll be my first hardcover cover release ever. Yeah, just so you guys know. I've never had a hardcover release, so
that right there is history in and of itself. So if you want the first ever Shelby Robertson hardcover cover, get in there and back Projectile Reptile and get that Shelby cover.
Hell yeah.
It's definitely some very cool character design.
Got the beautiful honeys right here. And I love how you're bringing the gingers back. We do not discriminate against gingers in comic books over here in the Indies.
That's right.
We bring them back.
Yes, I love those freckles, man.
That's why I love your game. It's simple. I love you can just get it. It's a little add-on. I love that, though. Just starting small and starting light.
Well, I like the Mint Tin game. I've never seen something like that before, so that's really cool to see some new stuff.
Great trailer, Dojo Kun.
Let's help Brian get this funded.
Back Projectile Reptile.
Yeah.
All right.
It's awesome. I love westerns. It's got a western monster vibe. They used to have fun with these comics, and they don't anymore. But we're going to do it for them because they can't. And so check out Projectile Reptile Comics by Dojo Kun. Good friend of the channel, great guy in Comicsgate here. And you deliver you deliver. You've got a reputation for delivering. Good guy, on time books, no drama.